the last thing I did want to say before we go to close out, huge recruiting news this week from the 26 and 25 classes, because there's been a reclassification. Malachi Tony, the superstar wide receiver from American Heritage, remember, who popped onto the scene a couple years ago with his first game in high school being like 9 catches for 135 and 2 tutties, or 3, I want to say. He is reclassified up into the 2025 class. So he is now not a next year's recruit. He's a current year's recruit. So he's a high 4-star guy, like a 5'10", 190-pound wide receiver. Not the biggest guy, but electric in so many different ways. An incredible route runner, great hands, athletically dynamic in the way that you need. Would love still to have a little bit of a bigger receiver, like a Jeremiah Smith size, or, like that really big X receiver we've been missing. But getting Malachi Tony up in this class is huge, huge for Miami. Just continue to add the talent that we need to this roster in the immediate time frame. He will not be enrolling early because American Heritage does not allow for that, because they are, for my money, the top academic institution, or like one of the top handful academic institutions in all of South Florida. So they don't play that early enrollee stuff, because they take their academics and everything. Like, I mean, hey, I have these fictional children, but like if I actually have a child and I live in South Florida, like I'm gonna have to figure out a way for my kid to go to American Heritage, because that is I went to Cranbrook. American Heritage is on Cranbrook level. And I love my alma mater, and I don't say that lightly. Like, having been in education for 20 years, like I say that like that. But I also say that to say, if you're expecting now, okay, Malachi Tony has, reclassified up, he's going to be on campus in January. Not so fast, my friend, because just like it's similar but different to St. Thomas Aquinas. They have the religion class second semester senior year, or all of senior year at Aquinas, that you cannot opt out of or take early. They just don't allow you to take any senior year classes, core classes early. So like your English 4 that you had to have both semesters of and everything at American Heritage. That's why. But huge news. Malachi Tony reclassifying up into 2025. Miami will, add him and hopefully, some other guys to this class. Trying to work out what percentage of current recruits are actually going to make it to signing day. I think that if the season continues to go on the trajectory that it is, Miami might go take that receipt back into Publix for some returns and upgrades with a couple of guys, throughout this process. And hopefully, guys don't get injured, but there's already been a couple of injuries to the kids who are committed, in this class, and seeing how some of those work out. Heard varying degrees of injury for guys like Amari Wallace, for example, Miami Central. He's going to miss the rest of this season with a pretty severe knee injury, but heard whispers that it might even be like Trevante Citizen level, like he might miss a couple years for that. So then it would suck, obviously, for that kid, but then, it's just like, are we going to wait till 2026 or 7 to have a 2025 recruit play? So like there's all that calculus going on, but, even with that, just in a vacuum, regardless of anything else, getting Malachi Tony into this class is a huge win for Miami. Great stuff from him to do all of the work. And I don't know, it's probably all of his junior year stuff that he did, because you can't do the senior year stuff again ahead, but all of the classes, because he had to take pretty much a year's worth of academics online between these last couple of years to be able to do this. So that's really great work in the classroom from him, and would put an elite playmaker on path to be on this roster as early as next year. So you love to see that. And hopefully you'll love to see what you see on Saturday night from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa when Miami takes on USF, and I believe will win in the end by a comfortable margin.
And you breeze through the shenanigans on ESPN2 in your words, shenanigans on ESPN2. Yes. Cal is no joke. They went to Auburn and we're staring at 0-4 here. That's crazy.
Yeah, because they're playing at Florida State, in case you didn't put the two together from me not saying it, and Mark just kind of piggybacking on my phrase of shenanigans on ESPN2. But yeah, no, I'm picking Cal outright to beat FSU. Definitely should have picked Memphis last week. Looking real bad. And also, if you didn't know, these two stats are singular at this time. There is one team in the country, FBS, who is winless. That is Florida State. There is one team through 3 weeks who has already secured the under on their over-under win total. Because I told you when the numbers came out, I said I have no idea why on God's green earth Florida State's win total was 9.5. Having lost 3 games in a row already, they've already hit the under in the first 3 weeks of the season. They hit their season total under. Like it's, I love it. I've been telling y'all that it was smoke and mirrors and shenanigans and a mercenary squad that they started building in 22. It paid off because they carried a lot of those guys over to 23 and added a couple. But you're seeing what it really is, and yeah, it's really bad up there, and that makes me very happy because I need a couple licks back when we play them later this year. Like it belt to ass.
Between that and what used to be called the swamp, and they could call it the morgue now, that's another deal that's just
got into a little bit of a discussion in the press box about that. Somebody was saying that Miami fans should have been rooting for Texas A&M to lose last week to show that the swamp still had its bite. And I said, well, actually, we went in there, and if they lose to Texas A&M, that's because Miami went in there and broke the swamp. Like we took their heart, we took their soul. That place is no longer the same this year because of what we did. And got a little, well, that's a really Homer kind of view. And I was like, it's a kind of asinine view to like go, like it's really revisionist history to look today and put demerits on what Miami did in week 1. You know what I mean? Like, and it was interesting. So that was another journalist, but differing opinions and everything, but a spirited discussion. But hey, whatever. Both of those teams can go and rot. And if you want to discuss that and more, stateoftheu.com. We have so many great things. Got a special feature from Justin DeTavio just up today on top of his normal great X's and O's. Marshall Thomas, I already said he gave you a trust the process piece about what and why and how. You need to check that out. I've been in the lab. Mike Schiffman's been in the lab. Cap Kane's been in the lab. Got a great piece from Rob Weaver this week. Look, we're out here doing the thing, and y'all would like to see the thing. Stateoftheu.com, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The State of the U. My personal Twitter is at Underwood Sports. And yeah, come on over in all those places and fan with us. And to Falconers Super Chat, what does 0-4 mean for FSU? I don't know what it means for them. It means a smile on my face, though, brother. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Does this mean anything in recruiting? I never hear you bring up South Florida in regards to any kind of recruiting battles.
Yeah, no, we don't battle. I mean, like we're on different levels of program. It can mean something because Miami has not necessarily been a super heavy presence in the Tampa area. There have been a handful here and there. I'm not saying that like there's none, but that could increase. Guys like Oregon commit Dallas Wilson, 5-star wide receiver. Somebody like that, maybe getting him to come down for the game. Obviously, like not on our dime because it's an away game. Gerard Pringle, who is committed to Miami, a running back from Sefner Armwood, is supposed to be attending the game, and several other people. I know that USF is going to use this to try to get the best players in their area over there to see what they're building and everything. Alex Golesh, their head coach, former Tennessee offensive coordinator, trying to build things up. So it's not like there's really head-to-head battles going on, but it will be very interesting. Hopefully for the guys, who are committed to Miami, paying their own way down, maybe some of the other local recruits like a Dallas Wilson. This is a Miami alum versus Miami as well, a former defensive back and now cornerbacks coach at USF, DeMarcus Van Dyke, Miami alum who coaches over at USF. So, there are connections and everything, but yeah, this is not like a, when we played Florida or when we played Florida State, like, in the recruiting world, like there's a lot of heads up battles. Not really that. But I think that, we can have a good showing and get a positive impact from this, in the Tampa area, which is somewhere that there's been intermittent success, but, getting more of a foothold could be advantageous.
Yeah, as soon as I asked that question, I thought, okay, it's less about USF, it's more about the area.
Yeah.
That there's not a head-to-head battle with them over players, but players within the area that don't go to USF that are going to uh, other stops, Florida State, or wherever they go,
Yeah.
because South Florida, to be able to pull in Miami multiple times as a road team, Florida State's been there in the last decade, Alabama, of course, last season. Those teams don't travel to other G5 locations.
No, they don't. But I mean, look, I think we're all using it for the same thing. Like, hey, like we're going to take our show on the road, show the people around, hey, like, this is the big circus coming to town. You know what I mean? Like you have your little carnival at your local church and everything, and then Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey come through, and it's like, yo, this is a big spectacle kind of a thing.